Now this has been built as an optical illusion, so the centre two columns are slightly larger than the outer four, which makes it look like it's bulging towards you.
In this episode, we do a deep dive into Ephesus, the famous ancient Greece city located in modern Turkey and accessed from Kusadasi. I was blown away by the various features preserved in what was the second largest city in the world, from the library of Celsus to the beautiful streets, and of course the recently excavated terraced houses. It truly was a privilege to explore.
My Ephesus tourism day begins. Hope that I can find one of the small minibuses that goes via Ephesus. Should be about 75 lira, but prices change quickly in this country. Minibus to Celsus, and it's 70 lira to get to Ephesus. Just like that, I've caught the bus to Ephesus, and now I'm walking to the ticket office. It's meant to be about 1 kilometre this walk. Luckily it's nice and windy, so it's not too hot. This ancient city is something I've been looking forward to since Karen, my sister-in-law, told me about visiting it quite a long time ago. She reckons it's awesome. It's one of the only ancient sites where you actually get a feel for how the people lived day to day, and that's because it is considered the best preserved ancient city that there is. Who wants to be in a nice air-conditioned tour bus anyway, when you could be walking on this horrible road? But at least I'm overtaking the massive queue. I'm in, €52, so bloody expensive for the ruins and the terrace house. First thing I'm doing is the Ephesus experience. So I've downloaded a free audio tour, but of course I arrived at the north gate, or the lower gate, and the audio tour starts at the upper gate, or north gate, south gate. So I now have to walk all the way through to get the audio tour started. Oh goodness me, this is like nowhere I've ever been. I think in terms of the quality of the ruins. Really hoping the audio tour lives up to it. Certainly cheaper than paying 350 lira for one. So at one stage, Ephesus was the second largest city in the Roman Empire. It's incredible what is still here in terms of the state of the ruins and your ability to really piece the place together. There you go. So this is a small theatre, or Odeon, next to the Basilica. This had musical performances and small shows and things, and it was a roofed building. Okay, little gems I'm getting from my audio tour. Originally, this site was covered up to the very top seats of this theatre in earth, to give you an indication of how the excavation was, or how much had to be excavated to uncover this site. It's incredible. And the white marble seating at the bottom is original, what they've managed to restore. Everything above that has just been created in the 50s. So not a huge amount to see, but this is the most significant building of historic times. This was the Prytaneum, where 6 curates effectively ran the city. So the famous statue of Artemis was in here, and the city's eternal flame that burned constantly until 395 AD, when Christians banned the worship of Artemis. Check it out, clay piping withstanding the test of time at the Water Palace here in Ephesus. Ephesus is so huge, they've just got these fantastic roads with beautiful columns on either side of them, and doesn't tell you anything about them. No one's walking down them. It's all the original pavement. This place is amazing. So this carved block is awesome. It's a street sign for people who didn't necessarily know the language. You've got one gentleman there that tells people that that's the way to the apothecary, and one symbol here that tells people that's the way to the market, except I think I've got them backwards. Awesome. So I just found out it's the Meander River that winds its way past Ephesus and into the Aegean Sea, and that is the origins of the word meander. That was a fountain, and this is the start of the Merchant Street. So these roads or streets even have the old iron rings in them, which they reckon used to hold up street lamps, or the stays for street lamps at night. This must be one of the most stunning views of Ephesus, all the way down Curate's Way to the library. Each of the major features has a really good description, including a reconstructive drawing. It's not clear if they're reconstructing it based on written descriptions at the time or some of the bits that they find, but to give you an indication, this fountain was 3 stories, and at the moment that's a 2nd story, so you can imagine how huge it would have been according to the reconstructive drawing. So it's a public fountain, it held tons of water, and anyone could come up here and fill up, and there was a god overlooking the waters. I'm just listening to Rick Steve describe these baths I'm in, saying it's not just the baths for bathing. They've got fast food vendors, pedicurists, gym equipment, prostitutes, pretty much everything. Wow, when I walked past the famous terraced houses the first time, the queue was enormous. Now there is no queue. Lucky me, this is one of the grand locations here at Ephesus. This has only been open since 2006. They only discovered it in 1999. It's incredible. And for some reason I've got this whole place to myself. God, the restoration of the wall paintings and the floor mosaics are just so cool. So this would have been an open courtyard, and then you can come across here and see incredible mosaics on the floor, and then you can see the wall paintings as well. The terraced houses are incredible. Plumbing in the walls covered by wall paintings. This is all 2,000 years old. I got a little bit confused there, so I had to ask a tour guide how many houses were here. She said 6. So it's really cool. There's about 6 or 7 young, either qualified or budding archaeologists doing some restoration work, and you can see what they're doing down there, trying to preserve or treat some of the walls with the plaster material. It looks fascinating. And then from up here at the very end of the terraced houses, you can get this incredible view of the 6 dwellings that we've kind of explored backwards and forwards. This has got to be one of the most tasteful, I guess, I hesitate to use the word restoration, one of the most tasteful, protective works I've ever seen on these ruins, or these types of ruins. This is the Temple of Hadrian, one of the most photographed sites in Ephesus. Pretty obvious what this one is. Very popular spot. 40 people would socialise together while going to the loo. And the odd bit of Byzantine architecture really stands out with the crosses and things. Wow, this is the library at Ephesus, and it is truly stunning. I'd say one of the best preserved types of buildings I've ever seen. Now this has been built as an optical illusion, so the centre 2 columns are slightly larger than the outer 4, which makes it look like it's bulging towards you. So I'm at the commercial agora now, huge, and these was the signs that told you what the shops were actually selling. Now, to help you appreciate the restoration efforts, they've left some things behind. For example, that odd looking mound over there with the trees, that illustrates how much dirt they had to excavate to uncover the agora. This is Harbour Road, which was the main entrance linking the harbour with the rest of the city. Marble paved, 35 feet wide, covered sidewalks and 50 street lamps, which was really luxurious. God, it must have been incredible. And look what you see as you walk up. Probably the largest theatre of ancient times, 25,000 people. Wow, the outer walls of the large theatre, massive amphitheater, very impressive. Unfortunately, it's undergoing restoration. I'm not surprised, it does look a little bit flimsy. Hopefully one day you can come back and stand at the base of it like you can in Ephesus and a few of the other ones we've been to. Ephesus is incredible. So this was the western end of the Silk Road, hugely significant city. They started excavating it in 1860. They reckon they've only uncovered 15% of it, probably the most impressive 15%. They estimate that the city itself would have had 250,000 people. Christianity effectively took over, as it so often does, but what happened is the port, which was 3/4 of a mile down Harbour Road, the sea is now 3 miles away. So the port silted up, the city became effectively useless, and thousands of years worth of debris, mud filled it in until they started excavating it. Incredible sight, some really significant areas, and what's amazing is all the roads are still, you can still connect them together and things and really get a feel for what it would have been like. But the terraced houses, only discovered in 1999 and excavated in 2006, opened in 2006, blew me away. All these tile mosaics make me want to go back to Dakini and play Zealand and Kel. I'm just walking out. You know, it's a pretty impressive complex when things like that don't even rate a mention. There is a sign up here, but I don't think anyone's walking out here and then back in to have another look.